All right, so moving right along. Yesterday we were talking about the Iron Curtain and how the Gaza, the Hamas terrorists have started attacking Israel again, and they were bombing Tel Aviv and stuff.
Winning.
And
No.
that Israel was talking about escalation and such, and that the war or the peace treaty fell, but Israel actually did it. They fucking put boots on ground, and yeah, let's get into this news. So Israel forces hit Hamas tunnels in Gaza. All-out war looms. More rockets rain down. Rockets, red glare.
Winning. No.
It sounds like a very freedom over there, huh? Israel dramatically escalated its assault on Gaza Strip early Friday with a combined air and artillery barrage aimed at destroying Hamas's tunnel system, marking the addition of ground forces for the first time in the five-day battle and tipping the conflict closer to all-out war. I mean, hasn't this been going on for like a couple centuries or so, or at least a century, or what's going like? I'm just saying that seems like it's already all out war to me. I'm just saying. The 40-minute midnight assaulted over 160 Israeli warplanes and three brigades of ground forces, including tanks, according to a spokesman from the Israeli. A minute, yeah. See, that's a fucking all out war. Although ground forces were involved, they did not enter Gaza, said Lieutenant Jonathan. Oh, maybe they didn't enter the other country. We did it at the border, contradicting a statement the night before that a ground assault on the enclave was underway. Timeline of the Israeli-Palestine conflict. That's what the politicians do, though, don't they? They just fucking lie. A timeline
suck.
of the Israeli-Palestine conflict. Coriascus said that the operation targeted a sprawling system of tunnels that Hamas has spent years building underneath Gaza streets, raising the possibility of significant civilian casualties. And see, this is what we got to stop the fighting for, because that's ridiculous. We're not going to move forward in life if Israel and the Palestine people are not one. We can't wipe either one off the map, and we're going to kind of have to figure this out if we all want to live together and free.
That's how winning is done.
You're kind of like socialist utopia won't work unless we can be peaceful, right? Unlike our very elaborate efforts to clear civilian areas before we strike high-rises or large buildings inside Gaza that was feasible at this time, he said, adding that the operation had targeted Hamas tunnels and the infrastructure with precision-guided munitions. That's it. It could just collapse them in. Here's what to know. Militants of Gaza fired at least 55 rockets overnight, bringing the total to about 18,000. How much is 1,800, like 1,800 rockets cost. So they fired. The Israeli military says they fired. They got attacked by 1,800 missiles. That is insane. After initially saying the troops were on the ground in Gaza, Israel issued a clarification saying that was not the case. Of course, they walked that statement back. The death toll in Gaza climbed to 119, including 31 children and 130 wounded, Gaza's health ministry reported. 2 women died after falling while running from shelter overnight, bringing the number of people killed in Israel to 8 civilians and 1 soldier. Israeli Prime Minister Benjamin Netanyahu, I probably fucking butchered that, vowed to continue military action as long as necessary and to exact a very high price on Hamas.
That's how winning is done.
This has begun. It has begun. Residents of Gaza City said intense, almost continuous airstrikes began to pound the northern Gaza Strip around midnight. An Israeli warplane bombed Gaza. 2 infantry brigades and an armored one approached but did not cross the border, Korea said. Tanks fired about 50 rounds into the enclave. We just bombarded it from the fucking border.
Winning.
The aim at the joint active on the ground, air and the ground forces was to deliver a severe blow to Hamas's underground tunnel system, which we refer to as the Metro, which is essentially a city beneath the city of Gaza, he said. It's a strategic asset that Hamas has invested many years of effort and time and significant resources to construct. If there was such a fucking problem, why haven't we collapsed it on people? Slacking on your pimping. Slacking on your pimping. It was too soon to say how much of the tunnel system was destroyed, he said, but he added that quite a lot of enemy combatants were killed in the overnight operation. The scale of the attack was in keeping with Israel's attempt to destroy as much Hamas military infrastructure as fast as possible, a strategy that Israel Defense Forces Chief of Staff Aviv Kokavi, I'm butchering these names, I can't fucking speak Hebrew, was characterized as the victory doctrine. The focus is on direct precision fire based on live intelligence using air, ground, and cyber forces. Yeah, that's the trifecta. Just fucking do it.
That's how winning is done.
Despite the sweeping operation, Hamas gave no signs of stopping its rocket attacks, one of which struck a coastal Israeli city of Ashkelon, critically injuring one man and wounding two more, according to the Times of Israel. We have much more to give, a Hamas spokesperson known as Abdu Abida said in a televised statement Thursday. The decision to hit Tel Aviv, Dimona, and Jerusalem is easier for us than drinking water. The technology and assassinations don't scare us as bombs and rockets rain down. Clashes continue in mixed Arab-Jewish towns within Israel.
Winning? No.
You
All
suck.
people in America here, we're complaining about like retarded problems, and these people are literally being bombed. It could be worse. About 100 people were arrested at the clashes Thursday night in cities including Wadi Ara, Ami al-Fam, Beersheba, and Netanya, according to the police spokesman Mickey Rosenfeld. In Netanya, police arrested 9 Jewish Israelis who were walking around looking to beat people up.
No.
This is just ridiculous, right? So, like, why are you going to They're already at war. 13 local lab residents were arrested. The whole world's going to collapse. This is just evidence of that. In Al-Amfam, police arrested 11 people who threw petrol bombs and attacked police officers, Rosenfeld said. In Tel Aviv, 2 men carrying iron bars were detained, according to police statements. Police also arrested 43 people overnight in Lod, the scene of some of the worst communal violence and riots, for throwing petrol bombs and rocks and attacking police officers, according to Rosenfeld. Arab citizens of Israel have long accused the Israeli police of one-sided enforcement and not responding to incidents in the neighborhoods during a years-long spike in violence in their communities. In recent days, many have lodged the same complaint against the border police units who normally patrol the West Bank and neighborhoods in East Jerusalem under army control. I mean, that could be true. Like, when your country is controlled by a religion, that tends to happen. That have been deployed throughout Israel to help quell the riots. Arabs say that the opposites have turned out in forces against Arab protests, but they beat largely absent when Jewish mobs and riots break out. The border police are responding to every incident that takes place on the ground, Rosenfeld said in the response, including incidents where innocent civilians are under life-threatening situations. In a nationally televised speech, Netanyahu warned that the civil unrest put the Israeli in the position of fighting a campaign on 2 fronts, one of which was Gaza, the second front Israeli cities. He said, repeating his vow from a day earlier to deploy the military to prevent the anarchy of the mob seen in several cities this week. As rival gangs of Jews and Arabs clash on the streets, fear mounts as irreparable damage to Israeli society. I again call on the citizens of Israel not to take the law into their own hands. Whoever does so will be punished severely. He said, we will act with force against enemies from without, the lawbreakers from within, in order to restore calm of the state of Israel. As diplomats from the Middle East, Europe, and the United States tried to broker a ceasefire before the conflict spiraled even further, UN Secretary General Antonio Guterres called for calm, citing Thursday's Muslim holiday of Eid al-Fitr. Out of respect for the spirit of Eid, I appeal for immediate de-escalation and ceasures of hostilities in Gaza and Israel, he tweeted. Too many innocent civilians have already died. The conflicts can only increase radicalization and extremism in the whole region. I mean, it will destabilize the whole fucking region, but I think that's the fucking point. So we're just going to move the fuck on. This is just another example of people not listening. When we had Trump in office, I mean, he wasn't perfect, but he wasn't senile and whatnot, and he was effective, and he could think, whether he is brazen or not. People feared that he would retaliate, and they actually broken a bunch of peace treaties, and now you get like this happening, and nobody's listening to him, and the fighting's starting again. I'm just fucking saying.